Back to Nyeri County now, and Governor Mutahi Kahiga is this morning expected to sign the Nyeri County Finance Bill 2019 into law. The bill, which is intended to sync revenue channels to the county government, is one of the processes the county uses to meet its 1 billion shillings target in local revenue. But despite the passing of the bill by the county assembly, there is a section of residents that insist that the right channels were not used, citing lack of proper public participation as required by law. We now join Ibrahim Karanja for a live update on what surrounds the bill. Ibrahim Karanja, good morning.
Well, good morning, Brenda. Indeed, like you have mentioned, the Finance Bill 2019 was passed by the County Assembly of Nyeri this week, despite a wrangle that has pitted a section of residents who are actually coming out guns blazing against the passing of that particular bill, faulting the process and saying that the constitutional requirement of public participation and public engagement was not met before the County Assembly passed that particular bill. And like you have rightfully put it, the Finance Bill 2019 here in Nyeri was intended to be one of the ways under which the county government of Nyeri will meet the 1 billion target in terms of local revenue. Remember, they have a county budget in which 1 billion was supposed to be collected locally, and the finance bill was intended to maximize on how and ways under which the county government will collect the 1 billion target. However, a public participation exercise that was organized by the County Assembly about 2 weeks ago flopped when members of the public refused to actually take part and said that they will not hold any public participation at night. Now, later on, the bill was tabled in Parliament, and during the second reading, it is important to note that a section of the members of County Assembly were completely opposed to it. 8 in number who are representing people or residents living in towns who are opposed to that particular bill. But it seems after that there was consultation amongst the members, and when it came to the committee of the whole house, then the County Assembly unanimously passed that particular bill, and of course beating the deadline, which was supposed to be 30th of September, under which the bill is supposed to have been passed. Speaker of the County Assembly, John Kagushia, insists that the bill went through the right processes. However, by early this morning, we had known that the bill will be assented to become law by Governor Mutahi Kahiga, but few minutes before going on air, we received that communication from County Director of Communication, Carol Nyeri, that the exercise has since been postponed. She has not indicated when we expect the bill will be signed into law or the reasons to its postponement. However, I have a section of the residents, most of whom I picked from social media, who complained about the process that particular bill underwent. And now that it is a bill and it is awaiting to be law, I want to hear from them whether they agree or whether their stand is still the same, that the bill didn't go through the right processes, and perhaps what other options they have. Thank you so much, Karidi, for joining us. For the purpose of for the benefit of our viewers, start by your official names and then tell us what it is that you are opposed to this particular finance bill, which has since been passed by the County Assembly of Nyeri.
I'm Karidi Wamboi, chairman of Serikali ya Vijana, social group that deals with the private auditing. We do social audit for the county government. And the matters respect the County Finance Bill 2019. We have stated we went for the participation, but unfortunately, we as members of the public, we refused all. We said that we are not going to engage in discussing matters pertaining the bill because the County Assembly had called the meeting almost in the evening hours. And to us, we felt that it's an abuse because we needed ample time to discuss the matters that are affecting the business community, especially at this time when we're discussing about matters of unemployment and the economic status of every Kenyan is going down. And so we felt that it was an abuse or that they wanted us to go discuss almost at night. Secondly, there was no proper communication that we are going to have a public participation. It is something like almost they were hiding it. And so when we went there, we discussed and said they were not going to discuss anything, matters pertaining the bill. Let them call us for fresh public participation, give us ample time to discuss and to prepare memorandums and understand what are the logistics or rather what are the components of the bill. And what we went further discussing is that they allow every department to go and sit down with the respective affected members. If it is the department of that deals with alcohol, other departments with other businesses, to go and sit down and have a clear memorandum. But unfortunately, as you all know, there's that the day before yesterday, that was 25th on Wednesday, the county government, the county assembly went down and passed the bill. And today it was to be signed by the Governor Mutahi Kahiga. Yesterday we rushed very quickly and we had our meeting with the business community. And I think that is one of the reasons that the county government might have feared that it would bring repercussions on when it came to public matters. And
Well, Karidhi, allow me to cut you short and bring this particular point that you have mentioned, that the public should have been allowed to bring in or to submit memoranda on regards to that particular bill. Earlier on, I spoke on phone to Speaker John Kagushia, who said that indeed the bill went through the right processes, memoranda was submitted to the county assembly, and also says that the county assembly was rushing against a deadline of 30th of September to pass this particular bill. Perhaps what's your take on that?
My take is that when you see that is something that I can't agree with, because you see what they're doing, they're taking memorandums from selective parties in regard that they have agreed with them. Some of them are bribed to write this stuff. And you see, if you were in that meeting where the business community had sat yesterday night to discuss about it, and the issues at hand is that no genuine people, or rather the businessmen who were consulted on it. If you check matters to do with the Miraa, the costing of Miraa at a cost of 20 or 10,000 per vendor, it's too high, because these people depend on very mean or rather very low cost. So when we see the governor trying to hike some of these costs in respect to asking for more revenue, it's something that we cannot agree. And you remember we have been talking last time what he did. He returned money to the treasury, money that ought to have gone for development. So we cannot agree to agree with him to ask for more money, yet the money that he is receiving from the national government, he has not properly utilized the whole money to the very end. So
about utilization, and this will be the very last question before I bring in these other gentlemen in, about utilization of funds and looking at the budget of the county assembly 2019, of the county government rather, 2019-2020, there is that target of 1 billion for local revenue, despite the money that will be coming from the exchequer. Do you think you're being unfair to the governor, saying that they cannot perhaps bring in more revenue through the finance bill? Do you think you're being unfair, yet the same residents are expecting development from the county government?
The county government itself, I would say they have failed to demonstrate that they are responsible enough in the money that they are receiving from the county government, so from the national government, that is. So what I expect of them, it is to first show clear utilization, so that they can tell us, you members of the public, we have received this money, we have utilized it to the core, and the amount of budget that remains to be funded, it is this amount. So therefore, we request, or we want the members of the public, as we do that public participation, to tell us how are we going to raise more revenue, because we cannot allow them to overcharge and to cause economic burden to the Nyeri residents when the money that they are receiving from the national government they have not utilized. So I would urge Governor Mutahi Kahiga himself, and I will tell him this: he first utilizes the money that he have received from the national government to the very last coin. From there, let him come again tell us, after utilizing all this money, then we have a deficit of this amount and we want to raise the money from the local revenue. That way we will all agree, and even we discuss and sit down to discuss where we need to raise more money, where we need to go down, depending on the economic status of this county.
Thank you. Thank you. Allow me to bring you in. Kindly tell us your name and then tell us, after now the bill has been passed. It is already a bill. After the governor signs, you cannot amend that bill until, you cannot reintroduce it to the floor of the House until after 6 months. Perhaps what is your next course of action?
I'm Moses Munene Madenge. From here, we have agreed as the business community, we are going to write a petition and take it to court to stop the bill from being implemented, because the bill suppresses the young people and suppresses the businessmen who have not been engaged. Because as we are going for the public participation, we saw that the cost of some of the taxes were too high for us. So we had decided we'll set a date, come and discuss, but the MCAs have shown us in a trend that public participation in Nyeri County doesn't really matter. Because for the finance bill, the public participation has not been utilized. Again, there's the dam site issue. We went for the public participation, we denied, and then we saw them continue with the activity that was buried out by NEMA.
Now, just to be fair to the county assembly, the same thing I brought to Karidhi, and this one I'll ask very briefly. The County Assembly insists there was public participation. Memoranda was submitted. The Speaker insists that those files are in his office. That public participation was not really intended to be that gathering that happened, or which actually flopped. But also the memoranda from the public, the different groups, the different stakeholders that were submitted to the County Assembly. Perhaps are you, or don't you perhaps recognize that such also is part of public participation?
What I can tell you, Ibra, in Nyeri County, we have people who operate under the governor. So they are so quick to act in a way that pleases the governor. I can tell you for sure, for those of us who were in the public participation, we decided the public participation was far away from town. We decided that it should be brought near. The MC agreed that they will bring the public participation here. But for them, they took some people, light a memorandum, so that they can pass the law without the majority. So those who load the memorandum, we don't know them as the business community.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, he says that is a specific group targeted to pass the memoranda. However, Speaker John Kagusha insists that it is the prerogative of the County Assembly to pass any bill, and the public is only brought in to bring its observation or to bring its views. However, we still are trying to see, Brenda, how this will turn out. The assenting of the bill has since been postponed. Reasons not given when it will actually be signed has also not been revealed. But it is important to note that also in the 2013-2017 dispensation of the county government, there were lots of wrangles involving the County Assembly, members of the public, and the executive wing of the county government of Nyeri. And such, there were like important bills such as budget and finance bill were not being passed. So could we say that the County Assembly has actually tried to avoid such an impasse, or has the County Assembly indeed made erroneously passed the bill like the members of the public here are claiming, Brenda? That is something that we shall be observing in the weeks to come, Brenda.
All right, thank you so much, Ibrahim.